Good to go?
Yep.
All right, call the meeting to order. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee Malinsky.
Here.
Mayor McFetrich.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Any corrections? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Presentation of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. Mike's here as part of the water board?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing as there's no one here for that, we'll skip that. Report from the codes enforcement officer. You have Chris's report. He's been very busy. I don't know if you have any questions or comments on any parts of it.
Has anything gone to any litigation at all, any of these?
We're still at the court level on a couple of things. And he is working with our lawyer on one thing in particular.
No.
And I think there will be another one that I just heard about today too. He does seem to be getting a lot of compliance after he issues the tickets, the violations. Okay, report from the mayor. Fall is quickly approaching and many of you will be raking leaves and picking up brush soon. Please remember that we no longer have a public brush pile. Dates for curbside pickup will be announced at the October board meeting. There will be no pickup until that specific time period. I continue to hear complaints about speeding on all of the village streets. We have contacted law enforcement to request increased patrols. But the real solution is for drivers to slow down. We live in a small, densely populated village with many families, including small children. So why are some of you willing to put these lives at risk? There's absolutely no reason to speed, including driving 50 or 60 miles per hour on these residential streets. I shouldn't have to threaten you with a ticket to get you to slow down. The thought that you might kill someone should cause you to drive slowly. Come on, folks, please drive responsibly. With COVID cases on the rise in the county, we have had to reinstate the mask policy in the village office. When you enter the building, we ask you to wear a mask. This is to keep our village employees safe, as well as those we do business with. And I thank you for complying. And finally, in honor of Labor Day last week, I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank all of the Village of Champlain employees for their hard work and dedication to making this a good place to live. Much of their work goes unnoticed, but I can assure you that they work diligently every day on your behalf. From road repair, to fixing water main breaks, to sidewalk concerns, to sewer and water plant issues, to grant writing and bills being processed, to accounting and dealing with the public, just a few of the myriad of jobs performed. These employees are always ready to do their best. It's certainly my pleasure to work with such a group, and I ask you to thank them when you see them. May you enjoy the last days of summer, and let's welcome a beautiful autumn. Thank you all for being a part of this village. Reports from the trustees. Nikki?
I don't have a whole lot to report. We did finish up the Fun Run series with our picnic, which was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We had a large group this year, so that was good to see all the families come out from near and far. I did not get to a fall festival planning, there's just too much going on personally. But maybe next year, we can do something small, possibly, or Christmas time, again, we'll do something then. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Is that it?
I will have it in my head.
If it comes back,
Yeah.
just shout it out.
The library, we do plan hopefully to have a paint and sip coming up, October. But we will be limiting it to a specific number due to space and, social distancing. So that will be announced probably at the next meeting. And the library is also accepting any Christmas decorations that you may have that you no longer want. Every year or every other year, she holds a Black Friday sale at the library on that Friday and Saturday from 9 to noon, I believe. And that helps just put a little bit of money into the library for books and materials and upgrades.
Great. Oh, and the trunk or treat.
Oh, yes, we are setting the trunk or treat for Saturday?
The 30th.
Saturday the 30th? Yeah. Oh, can't find it. That's in the evening.
We did it in the afternoon
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Last year was in the evening.
Yeah,
I
but
know,
it's
yeah.
because people had to drive. That when they're walking, it's better if there's
Oh, true,
light.
yeah,
Who knows how we'll be
Yeah.
doing it?
so, I know.
So do you have a
Wait and
time?
see.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe 2?
Probably, I think we did it mid-afternoon,
Okay.
a couple years, so, yeah.
because the Knights of Columbus is gonna
Oh,
participate,
that's right, yes.
so,
So that'll be down behind the playground again, yes. Businesses welcome, families welcome, decorate your trunks and, hand out candy.
Yeah, I've had a
Cute
couple
little
people already
kids'
sign up.
shoes. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I determined the time, we'll need to know.
you said 2 then.
Yeah,
We're thinking
we will
2.
go
You're
2
thinking,
o'clock,
okay.
yes.
We just decided.
We did,
Just
right now.
decided, okay.
2
So
o'clock,
next
I
meeting-
thought you were
Saturday,
just
October
discussing it,
30th.
I'm
We,
sorry.
I was. Then I decided that we
Yeah,
should
'cause
just
I don't
decide.
think, I don't think we made that decision before, so yes, trunk or treat,
So 2 o'clock on the 30th.
to Saturday. The library, I believe, is also holding their pumpkin decorating contest, which would be that Thursday. Those interested, bring your decorated pumpkin about 5:45, and I think the judging at 6:15. I'll get that for you. There is an event on Facebook on the library page,
Oh, okay.
yes. Anyone's welcome.
Is that it?
That is it.
Chuck?
I was gonna mention the trunk or treat, but that's done. And, the game day, guess we'll figure it'd be on a Sunday afternoon,
Oh, yeah,
okay?
I think a Sunday afternoon's best.
And should we have like a 2-hour time period, is that good?
That'd be great.
And just have to set a date and try and get something out there for people to know when it is, and
Sure.
probably the first time we get together, probably just more of a organizational thing, so people see what they wanna do and.
Probably bring a few just to start with, just
Sure,
because
yeah.
some people are gonna wanna just
But-
come and play
I'm
something.
guessing maybe towards the end of October start up?
Sure. Probably don't wanna start on the 31st though.
No,
That'd be
that's,
the last Sunday.
that's the Sunday, no, you're right, and that's Halloween too.
Yeah, maybe the first of
First.
November.
First Sunday of November,
Mhm.
okay, which would be the 7th.
Yes. You thinking like 2 to 4 or 1 to 3 or?
I'd say probably 1 to 3.
Chuck, forgive me because we weren't in attendance for the last meeting, can you give me details about
Well,
this?
I was thinking that there's not a lot for the seniors
Mhm.
to do, and I was thinking maybe something had like a game day where people come to the meeting house and just get together and play games and decide what kind of games they want.
Gotcha.
We have all kinds of games available for people to use,
Mhm.
just a matter of what they wanna do. You know, like I said, probably a couple hour time period. And, you know, there's a lot for the kids, but not much for the older residents. So I thought, try it and see how it goes.
Mhm. Good idea.
And let's see, I had something else, but I can't remember, so I'll come back to it.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
That's it for now.
Kim?
The water board's been busy, and we're trying to wrap up and get our report set for the October 15th deadline. I'll let Tom take over, cause basically this is, you know, we've kind of been living and breathing this water board, but, everyone was copied with an interim summary and, one of our spreadsheets, so you can take it.
We'll start with the summary. I think the spreadsheet is self-explanatory. We're trying to capture every bit of water to try to reduce our high percentage of loss. That looks bad, and it makes it look like we're, you know, not running efficient. So in the summary, as you see, the synopsis pretty much explains that this interim summary is because we are behind on receiving many data points on time, and it's, you know, it puts us into a stall, more or less. So we're trying to still hit our deadline, but this is to bring everybody up to speed, especially since the town is gonna be starting their budget meetings very shortly. So as you see with the wastewater plant, and this will be in, you know, these things will be in the report as well. We're requesting that the village installs a radio read meter to try to capture all the water used at the wastewater plant. Woody estimates it's somewhere around 60 kgals a year. It's just an estimation, it's actually a guess, but whatever it is, whatever we can capture, we'll bring that 31% unaccounted for water down, and our goal is to try to, you know, get it into the 20s where it's more reasonable. Same with the fire district. It's like, you know, we discussed this several times last year. If we could have a flag and know when they tapped into a hydrant, you know, just if they could contact this office. So I think we need a letter of request to the fire district to notify us every time, and the office can notify the water operator, who then will, when taking his readings, can give us an estimation, or document an estimation, I should say, based off the last couple of days' amounts compared to that day or that night, that 24-hour period, we'll say. Again, that will help establish some value, you know, some water count to reduce that number. Then the generator purchase. This has been a tough one to try to figure out how to share the cost of that at this point, because in hindsight, it should have been handled a little differently, as you can see in my paragraph. In review of the IMA, we recognize that fell under section non-capital repairs, where we really should have, you know, contacted in writing to the town, letting them know that this was, it should have been done in the original project. It wasn't. We have to provide this to keep the water plant running in an extended power outage. And figure out how to pay for it, you know, we did it with reserves, maybe they could have done that as well. Whichever the case may be, putting it into the O and M is really difficult. If we put the full cost in the O and M, you know, then their share this year will be over $60,000. So therefore, we came up with amortizing it over a 20-year period. As you can see in the summary results, which results in, I'll just say it's $1,991, we'll say approximately $2,000 a year being added in the equipment category to ease that burden, so it's paid a little at a time. So they're at roughly 47.5% right now, so probably like $900 is all that gets added per year at that point. With that, after looking at the correspondence that I just had here since I came in this afternoon, and I see that quote, we're gonna need to discuss how to handle the installation of that generator, because now it's much more,
Yeah,
the board talked about it. Could we absorb 5,000 or 6,000 into the O and M and not kill the district? But if we're looking at upwards of $10,000, we may wanna have a discussion on how we're gonna do that with the town.
There's gonna be more on top of that, besides,
Sure,
Because
sure.
we
That's
still-
just the electrical.
that's just the
contract.
electrical, that's no slab, no removing the old one, no digging, no pulling what,
So,
no.
I'm guessing we're probably somewhere between 14,000, somewhere in that vicinity, 15. So I say it's a big ticket item, it becomes, when we're looking at large, you know, in hindsight, when we're looking at large expenditures like that for repairs or replacements, it has to be looked at a little bit differently, it can't just be stuck on the O and M. And that's our assessment of the IMA.
okay.
Under Edu Assessments, the village increased by 5, but the town has done what they were requested to do. They have looked at their policy, they've made adjustments to the policy and went through every single parcel. This is what we did here. And they're at 562, correct, Kim?
Yes.
562 EDUs, so it's an increase of 112, which of course then resets the standard for the debt repayment. And as you can see, it results in a ratio as follows: the town at 47.6%, the village at 52.4%. And under O and M, under these ratios, with that $1,991 added to it, they're gonna owe us $44,579.38 this coming year.
Okay.
Debt repayment, village will be at $90,622.58, and the town will be paying $218,907.42. Under cost of water, we all wondered how the heck our water could be at $5.94 a kgal last year, but that's what it came to, right? That's what one day.
Yeah.
But what we didn't know, and we realized, you know, through working with Mike this past year, that the nano flushing is actually processed water. So that has to be included in the calculation when you're looking at what you spent in the fiscal year against the number of gallons that you process. That's what dropped that number down to 515. So that's really reality compared to the 594, because it was missing, approximately 13 million kgals. Because when you look at this spreadsheet, the distribution column is what Mary uses. And you'll see, I want to point out that there's a slight difference under that distribution column compared to the bottom table, where Mary's provides these numbers to me. It's at 43,887 compared to 43,790, and that is because she's doing this by quarter. There's some variance there. If you go wells, the raw water metered to the plant, showing 56,199,000, but yet when we total the nano flushing and distribution, we come up with 57 million, and again, that's variance in two different meters.
Okay.
You know, what would you say the variance on that meter at the well is, like, several percent probably?
I don't know.
Hard to say, right? But there's a variance between the two meters.
That's what he said.
Do they get calibrated on an annual basis?
No.
or- No?
No,
How long have they been installed?
since we put it in, so it's been, the distribution meter's probably been, 4 years, well, let's see, probably 4 years, cause before, we had to read it, and that was the difference. One of them does a 24-hour period, so you can't go in and just read the meter, it gives you from midnight to midnight. So, that's why, you can't just go in and write it down, and it's a 24-hour period, cause you're always pumping, you're always calculating for the day before.
Yep.
So you're always a day behind. So right now, we wouldn't know till tomorrow morning what we pumped today, cause it goes through midnight,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
okay, it sort of resets itself.
Right, it has
Every-
yesterday's total, I mean, it has a continuous total, but it has what you pump for 24 hours. So if
Yeah.
you go in, if you don't go in at the exact time, if you were to read it every day, if you don't go in at the exact time, you really wouldn't know where the 24-hour. So this way here, it's from midnight, you know,
Okay.
and the next day it starts from midnight as a new day. So this way it's captured as a whole day, and you're always a day behind, because right now we're still pumping, because it goes through midnight tonight. So if I went and took a reading now, it'd only be partial today. Does that make sense?
How about the distribution meter? Is that the same?
Yes, that's the one, that's the distribution meter would be the one that's, every day it comes in, you know, it tells you what you used yesterday, it gives you a total, it gives you a running total, cause if it was running at this point, it's gonna be adding up, but it gives you yesterday's exactly what you pumped for 24 hours.
So that's the distribution going to the tanks. How does that compare to the one coming from the wells? Is that one,
Well,
is that one just a meter, or is,
No,
you
that's-
take readings, or is that?
there's a reading on there too, both of them have readings.
I realize that, does that one do just 24-hour periods as well, or does that one take actual data constantly?
No, well, I mean, it's always changing on your screen as it's pumping, so you can't, you know, if we go right now, we go an hour from now, it's gonna be however many thousand gallons more if it's running, but it does give you a total for the day, yeah.
Okay,
So it's real time
Right.
versus,
It logs it every, you know,
right.
like at midnight every night, it logs it what yesterday's total was, and it starts back at 0. You still have a total, and you can see yesterday's, but it resets back to 0 for today, so you can see exactly
Right, so
what you used.
so that's why we're thinking, we had a flag that, yes, we had a fire, we had to tap onto the hydrants. The next day, or probably the day after, before you could really get a handle on what that spike was, and it would just be an estimation, I realize that.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna catch all of it. I
No.
mean, you could have
But,
sprinkler systems, and they're not metered, I mean, sprinkler systems and all so if somebody's flushing their sprinkler system, you know what I mean, none of that's captured.
no, I know
Cause you can't
that.
put a meter on a fire,
Hmm.
it's not enough flow,
It would restrict it.
it would have to be a special, yeah.
No, I realize that, we're just trying to get an estimation on fire district's water, that's all, just to try to lower that number to some sort of.
I mean, really,
realistic.
whatever was billed versus the cost for the plant, that's the cost of water. That's whatever it took. Even the nano, that's part of the filtration, part of the finished water,
Yeah,
You
yes,
know,
that's why we're including it.
right? I mean, no, that's just an
It's water.
ingredient.
It's water that you treated and processed. That's why it had to be included, but whenever you are calculating against more K-gals, it's gonna lower the cost. Cause your expenses for the fiscal year are the same, they're set, so.
Yeah, you know what you paid for the year, and you know how much was billed, and that's your K-gal price. That's what it costs you to make that water.
I don't think you two are calculating it the same way.
We're not, I can tell that.
I know we aren't.
Okay,
But
I
that's-
just wanted to make sure
I mean, that's
for the record, that,
the cost.
We have
Whatever was billed versus what it costs for you, that's the price it costs us per,
No, when you look at raw cost, it's
Oh.
what did it take you to make the water, and that's what raw cost means.
well, raw is what we get from the wells, we supply finished water is what we sell.
Right, and that's what we're doing, we're putting in all the expenses to supply the finished water, right, you know, from the electricity to the chemicals. That's, even the administration, that's all part of the cost of making that water.
So we're not gonna solve this, we're not gonna solve this issue, but understanding the lost water, is the goal really to find ways to reduce that lost water, or is it to quantify
Let's
where
start-
it's going in terms of it being lost?
Let's start by quantifying where it's going.
Okay,
And then if there's means to try to reduce it, that'd be great.
yeah, because really it's lost revenue as well,
Exactly.
Right, but that's
because
what
we can't,
what Mike is referring to really is what you need for a cost of water to run the business is the difference between what you've made and what you're able to bill. That other water is part of that cost. That's why you can't sell it for $5.15 a k-gal, you'd go under.
well, to me, I just
That's
look
not
at
what
it,
that's not what that means. This is just the raw cost, it's what it costs to make that water.
yeah, but I also look at that as lost revenue. I mean, that's water that we had to produce, that we can never get money for.
Correct. It is.
Some of it is used to make the finished water.
Some of it is used to make the
That's
finished
part,
water,
that's an
and
ingredient.
that's part of the business.
Yeah, like
That's an ingredient to make-
Like the
Yeah.
13 million gallons of flushing for nano.
Yeah, that's correct,
Yeah, it's part of that, we realize that.
cause I mean, well,
I think you might be misunderstanding what the board tries to do when you know, try to calculate what the raw cost is, it's just what it took to make all that water. Can you explain it any better, Mike?
Essentially, that's it. The unaccounted water is not billed. Essentially, it is billed, it's brought into the overall cost of water.
Correct.
You have to pay for it somehow, and that's how it gets under the raw cost of water. Definitely what we have to look at is where is that water going? We're looking at 33% of what is produced, we can't account for right now.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Oh, they count
Because
for pieces of it right now.
You can, pieces
Yeah,
of it, you
they
definitely
They count
can
for 2%.
account for. I mean, you know that some is used at the plant, you know, some, we don't know how much, but some is used at the sewer plant.
Mhm.
The fires, I don't know how you'd ever know how much,
It's
I
gonna be
mean,
an
I understand
estimation.
what you wanna try to
Right.
do,
But it's been pretty constant too, over the past 2 years.
yeah,
And we definitely have to get a handle on that, and it's pretty elusive at this point, unfortunately.
I think that is all reported on our annual reports, right, Mike?
and Mary and Woody usually do it.
I mean,
do that.
Well,
There's lost water.
as with the only, I know we don't have to report that anymore, but
Oh, okay,
we used to, but we're a smaller district, so we don't have to, but, I mean, water breaks, we do account for some of that in that water report,
yeah.
with how many
Okay.
water breaks we've had that particular year.
Yeah, but no gallon amount to it,
No,
just number of breaks.
just what we've sold in water and, the number of water breaks. That's two of the things that are in that report. But not an amount of lost water.
I was talking to Greg today, and of course, water came up. But he said it's been fairly consistent, the amount of lost water over the years,
Mhm.
like a long
That's
period
what we're
of time.
saying, yeah.
Not just since we started this project. So,
So there's a number that's normal, we're just trying to find what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna reduce it to some astronomically low number like
no,
5% or lower, but if you get in the 20s, it would seem more reasonable, but that's obviously a real factor. And mentioned it in our meetings a couple times, I should contact other municipalities and see what percentage, see if they track it, what percentages they're dealing with,
Mhm.
to find out what average is, what's the mean between all of us. So, I guess I'm gonna do that. So anyways, and then we've still got a little more work to do. The report did come in this afternoon after we did this. Received it, I guess it was about 1 o'clock, the EDU report from
Oh, good.
the town. So we'll have to digest that, and we need to start looking at the water charges next, to see if we have recommendations. That's part of our charge under the IMA,
Yeah.
is to look at that as well.
I just have one question, and I'll leave
Sure.
and
No,
leave
no,
you
go
guys
ahead.
the rest of the meeting, but, the old generator, Mike, is that gonna be decommissioned and removed, or?
Yeah, I would imagine you probably won't get a lot for it, but I imagine it probably could be put out for sale.
I was wondering if, any work that had to be done on decommissioning it and so on shouldn't be part of,
I mean, there's nothing really to decommission.
there isn't.
No, I mean, we have to
Okay.
take, somebody has to take it, remove it, and remove the cement slab that's there. And the other slab where the fuel tank is to put the new generator. But there's no really decommissioning work.
No,
The power's gonna be
no.
hooked out of the box and the wire's gonna be pulled back. And it's, we're gonna put conduit and, but there's nothing to decommission, it's a diesel generator, there's nothing, unhook the wiring and,
Very
remove
little, if
it.
any, labor is involved in what else?
no,
Okay.
moving it, which is gonna be move it out of the way, I mean,
Okay,
no. Nothing really to decommission.
that's good. Okay.
And we don't have a use for it ourselves.
No,
I've mentioned to the town, they don't, I'll find out tomorrow night if they were putting the feelers out to see if they had any need for it. And there's the fire district, does the fire district have a need for it?
right now they have a tow behind, cause they took theirs out when they were gonna do their addition and they gave it to Altona Fire District. So Altona's installing the one they had, so they had to get a tow, I think they got a tow behind one, they call it on a trailer. But there might be other municipalities or fire departments that, you
Well,
know.
I think.
Now here, well,
No, go ahead.
I mean, down the road, maybe that generator could be used somewhere else, another building.
Possibly.
It's just a thought, I don't know.
There may be farmers that could,
The biggest thing is if you're not gonna get very much for it, we may have a use
Right.
later for it.
True, but if you let it sit, I don't think, you'd have to put it somewhere where you can run it periodically, or it's not gonna work. If you let that sit for a year or two, it's 21 years old, it's probably just not gonna work.
I mean, I don't know, I don't even know its worth.
It's probably not worth much, I just wanted to make sure that we've covered our avenues in regards to utilizing it locally, and if not, then put it up for bid, and if there's a fire district somewhere that needs it,
Fire
they'll pick
district,
it
a
up.
municipality, or
They'll pick it up
a
cheap.
shelter, somebody
Right.
that,
just about all the farmers have one or would like to have one too.
Most of
And
them are-
that's another outlet.
yeah, a lot of them are
Mhm.
probably bigger,
Do we have one here at this building?
yeah.
Yeah.
We got a
Probably
natural
good.
gas,
It's natural
it's
gas?
natural gas.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't need it, I mean, if we exhaust locally that nobody needs it, then I would say put it up for bid. And
Yeah.
See what.
I don't think holding on to it for a future use, unless it was a near future, I don't think would be a good idea. I think we'd just waste it.
Yeah. Well,
And most everything now, well, other than that one, but most, the smaller ones now are natural gas, cause there's somewhat less maintenance, more efficient and more clean,
Yeah, it's pretty easy, just hook up the gas, you don't have to worry about it,
and it's always there, yeah.
and it's always there.
yeah. Anything else on the report?
No, that's it, we'll have to I think discuss in depth how we're gonna take care of that installation.
Yeah.
That's down to you, and we'll figure that
Yeah.
out, cause at the cost that's gonna come in, you can't throw that in next year going in,
Right,
and you can't amortize it, it doesn't have a depreciation value on the very.
we'll have to figure something out.
That's all?
I
Okay,
just wanna
well, good.
say, before you go,
Thank you.
Mike, I just wanna say thank you to this water board. I know you work really hard, and
Yeah.
it's, there are a lot of moving parts. It's, none of us totally understands the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's still new.
Yeah,
I mean, it's new on our end, it's new what you're going through, you
Mhm.
don't always get the data, you don't always get it, you don't get anything timely probably.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that I really appreciate all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
well, the board is,
It's a good
Right.
group.
we all get together, that's one thing, and, you know,
Yeah.
do it. And I appreciate a little more of the water that's coming out of the faucet now. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike, you have a comment. I did have one other thing, if you,
Sure.
if you could. I know we talked about this, I happened to read it recently, so the moratorium in regards to, you know, utility shut-offs also included, you know, we'd be able to levy for water and sewer under the 22 January bills. But there's a statement here that kind of scares me, if they were to extend the state of emergency, we may not be able to do that, if I'm understanding it correctly, and I'm sure
Yes,
you
I-
must have read this,
I believe that is correct.
yeah,
If they-
Mary
if
knows
they-
this better than I do though.
If they reinstate the state of emergency, you mean?
or extend it, yeah,
Okay, cause it's been shut up, it's been stopped right
Right,
now. But if
right.
they, yeah, if they got it on again, there could be the chance that would extend on.
that would be detrimental.
Yeah, we have a few people
We have a few.
that are rolling over their balances.
I guess I was speaking more in general to municipalities in general.
Oh, and yes,
It would be very much a hardship.
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
just
But
wondered-
actually, we've done very well,
Yeah, for the most part, most people,
for most part, yeah.
90%.
People are paying their bills.
Mhm.
But larger municipalities are in trouble.
Wow,
We've got a few people that have, you know, acknowledged that they've been affected by COVID, so they're on a repayment plan without
Mhm.
penalty or late fees. But it would be good if that was all done at the end of the year, I guess.
yeah, that's what I'm concerned about when I read the other paragraph that left that caveat there that, or this could happen.
Mhm.
I just wanted to bring it up, make sure everybody's aware of it.
Yes.
I have one more thing, I just thought of when you said that. Do we offer to people
Oh, yeah.
the ability to direct pay, other than credit card, set up a direct pay with their water bills from the village office?
No.
No,
Would it be something that we would consider? Rouse's Point does it,
Mhm.
and we did not realize this until we were talking with someone, and he's like, I absolutely love it, I don't have to think about it. The bill comes in and it just says, do not pay. And it's automatically set up, it's drawn out of the checking account. Just wondering if it's
Where's-
something the village
I
would
don't know,
consider.
it's, that, I think this would go into the line, something almost like if we were to direct deposit paychecks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
The cost, cause years ago when we checked that out, it was too costly because we're so small. So, I
We
mean,
can find it, we can
we
talk
could-
to
we could-
Rouse's
If-
Point
if
and
you
see
could
how
look
they do
into
it.
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you could look
I
into
mean, it's
that.
convenient, I don't know if you.
I do it with the phone company,
Yeah, we do it with a lot
I
of,
do it with a lot of bills.
yeah.
And,
it's easy.
The only difference maybe here is we only have 4 bills a year, and if you gotta pay a monthly fee, that may be why it was, you know what I mean?
Rouse's Point's a monthly,
Yeah, they're monthly.
Monthly bills that they have,
Yeah.
you know, they're doing every month, that could be the
It
difference.
could be.
If it's a
Could be,
monthly
but-
charge, you have to look at,
yeah.
just because ours are quarterly.
I'm not sure even who you would do that through, if that would be Williamson Law.
We could ask them, start
Yeah.
there.
Cause we did look into doing like, bills sent electronically through email,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's a program that can do that, but it seemed like it was gonna cost us a lot more than it costs us now, even with
To mail it.
postage and all, and labor to do that, it was gonna cost us more if we did that electronically, but we can
Kinda
certainly
glad you
look
did
into
it,
it.
'cause my email's so big I would lose it.
We'd never find the bills.
Seriously.
But yeah,
It's-
if we could check into that, because it's simply a matter of, they walk in, they fill out a form with like the routing number and
Yeah.
a blank check and with void written on it, and
I'm sure there'd be a lot of customers like ourselves that would do it, and I'm sure the money gets here quicker that way and more efficiently, so
Mhm.
there's some benefit
Yeah,
to
we'll probably go
to the
through
village.
Williamson, we'll probably have to go
It
through
would.
them.
Yeah. Do they get a bill too?
they just get a paid statement.
Just that they don't, so they don't know ahead of time if it's
No.
what it is?
Nope. Nope,
Okay.
nope, so like our friend that we were talking to, he says, I just wait for my bank statement to come in to balance my checkbook, he said, but I could use the statement they send me, he said, I just don't.
Although Rouse's point is not metered, so
Yeah, they're not
they
metered,
just have a fixed rate anyway,
yeah.
so they would know exactly, they would know what it is unless it was
True.
something extenuating.
I thought they were metered.
No,
now.
they're not.
No, just a
Only
businesses.
businesses are, but
Oh,
not,
okay,
not residents.
okay. He might be metered because he has apartments.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
No meters in houses.
No.
If we could check into it.
I
yeah,
can do that.
I think that's a good idea.
And the amount per apartment, not per building.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, you would know that.
I would know,
What is it?
it's per apartment, even if the unit's not in use.
But what if there's only one service to a building,
Nope, per apartment.
still per apartment?
It's
Interesting.
expensive being a.
That's it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Report from the clerk treasurer.
Okay, everyone has their August expense and revenue report.
Is there anything you want to explain on any of this?
No, we're pretty much at that 25%
Yeah.
quarter of a.
Anyone have any questions on any of the details?
What do we do for trailer, repair, Mike?
It's a trailer that got crushed by the snow.
Oh, that
That's
was
an
for
enclosed
that?
trailer, just got
Yeah.
it back.
Okay, you just got it back?
Took the whole roof off,
Wow.
front off.
Is that, able to be covered under insurance?
We already got the check,
We had 14,000
$1,400.
or 1,400.
And
1400
$14,000 did well.
$1,475, and that was the additional cost.
Okay.
That's cost above and I had them put double the roof poles, so they're half the spacing, so we don't have to go through this again.
Yeah.
Because if you keep them the same as they were, it could happen again.
Yeah.
So I had them double, as long as you take the roof and do it, double the poles on the roof.
That's a good idea, Mike.
Yeah, it's a smart move. Presentation of the warrant.
We have additional invoices of $129,317.95 for a total warrant of $140,755.66. We're gonna pay the $120,000, which is out of our reserves for the snowplow, and we'll pay the remainder when we get our loan and grant. The closing will be the beginning of October.
But the truck will be here
It's
As
not
soon
bad.
as we write the check.
as soon as we write the check,
Well, the day after, or
Yeah.
that day, depending when I get it.
in the next day or two.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
2 years.
2 years. 2 years. Is there a motion to pay the warrant
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
Discussion?
No, nothing.
No questions? I don't wanna rush anyone. Everyone all set? Roll call?
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
Okay, now, before we go on, we have, since we transferred, I don't know if you were here last month, we transferred, we got ARPA funding of the American funds. Last month, we had 53,845.98 that we transferred to the water capital project. We opened a new account, and, so we have processed that. We need to transfer 437.89, which is additional funding. So I can write the check to bring over to Champlain National for that. And I also have 3 invoices that need to be paid in the amount of $12,028.25 to Barton and LaJudas. And we have to reimburse the village $1,991.25, which we paid last month.
Okay, let's do these
Oh,
one at a
yeah.
time.
Oh, okay.
So the 436.89, did I write that right?
437.89.
Oh, how did you do that?
That's to be transferred to, cause that's part of the ARPA funding, that was, additional funding that we got.
That's-
So that needs to go over to the water project.
Okay, so I need a motion for that.
So moved.
And
The
a second.
transfer.
Second.
Okay, discussion on that.
So this is in addition to the,
53,
okay.
I don't know why we got $437.
It was- I don't know, they said that municipalities are going to get an additional amount, and that's what we got.
They divvied it up and pulled straws.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
That was our share.
so this will go over to this
To the
special
water,
reserve, it's a reserve fund?
it's the water capital project fund, it's a checking account.
Okay.
Cause we've opened one for the sewer, and we've opened one for the water.
For the 2 projects.
Gotcha.
Okay, that needs roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, does not?
And then we
Wait,
have bills.
Wait,
Oops,
the motion's here,
Oh,
so
okay.
so it doesn't need roll call.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion
Sorry.
carries. Okay,
Okay.
second one.
So now we have an additional 3 invoices that need to be paid for the water line main replacement of $12,028.25. And we have to reimburse the village $1,991.25 for a total of $14,019.50. In which I felt that it was best to come through the board here, so we're not,
What's the reimbursement for?
for the
The
village.
991, yeah.
$1,991.25. It was an invoice, 91.
No, I've got that,
Oh.
but I was asking what that was
Oh,
about.
what it was before we got our money and got everything transferred, we paid a bill out of the village
Of the general fund?
money, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the only one this year that we paid. We have one from last year, but we're waiting till we get our funding.
Mm-hmm.
Big mix up.
Okay, so, yeah, are you confused?
No, I understand that.
Oh, okay, I think it's very confusing, but that I understand. Basically, before we had any kind of money, we just had to spend our own money on these engineering bills.
Yeah.
So now that we've got a capital project and we've got some
We
funds,
got a little bit of
now
money
we
to
can
start.
repay ourselves.
Yeah.
Basically borrowed from the general fund.
Yes, we
Yes,
borrowed,
yes.
yeah, we
That's the
borrowed,
best way to put it.
now we're gonna
make it
repay.
understandable.
okay.
Okay, so, and what was the total, 14,000?
$14,019.50.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion for that,
So moved.
and a second.
Second?
Any other discussion?
I mean, cause it is still village money that we're
I
spending.
know, we're really moving things
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Okay, and just
yeah,
that needs,
trustee Tom, or, yeah, trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
Mayor, or trustee McFetrich, trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
Okay,
all right, thank you.
okay, so then, yeah, I just felt it was better to, not to just pay these, that we
Yeah.
should continue doing as we do with our
I think it's a good choice.
Mhm.
regular.
Yeah, I do.
We wanna be really aware of a solid paper trail.
Yep.
Is that it for
Yep.
money?
Yep.
Okay, report from the superintendent.
This past month, we had one water break on the end of Pine Street we took care of. We did do monthly readings, and I'll be doing water readings again this week for the upcoming billing. We had a electrical issue on one of our well pumps. I was able to repair it. Some of one of the connectors and wires had got melted. Moisture issue. On the sewer side, our main grinder and muffin monster at the plant is broken. Some of the bolts sheared off in the gearbox. I'm waiting to try to get a parts breakdown. It doesn't look good. It looks like the bearings might be bad. I'm gonna see, once I get the parts breakdown, we'll get it apart and see if it's something that we can get fixed. If not, we're gonna have to purchase another muffin monster, which you do have a sheet for a quote, which we can go over after.
Yeah.
We had met with the engineers down there to go over a few things for the sewer upgrades.
Mhm.
On the equipment, our Peterbilt's back in service. There are a few other parts that I gotta get. I gotta get an air dryer and a couple things for it. The new plow truck has came in, so once we, well, maybe tomorrow or the next day, maybe we can pick it up. Bucket truck parts came in. I'm hoping by next week we'll have that back. I think I gave you a quote too. I need to put our cutting edge on our loader is broke. I need to put a new cutting edge on the loader. Miscellaneous, the kayak launch was vandalized again. There's some parts missing.
Oh,
We had put up some signs to warn people there was no swimming or jumping off the docks, and there's a few individuals that keep doing it, so it's all been taken out of the water. All the docks, the kayak launch, everything's been removed. Streets, we're still working on getting stuff ready. Right now we're building a turnaround on Mill Street, so for our plow truck. So we had a kind of a wet spot down in there. It looks, I'm gonna try to get home again tomorrow, but it looks like it's probably gonna be late September before they do paving, and I gotta try to get a hold because we got a bunch of milling to do, driveways and end of roadways, and that's gonna take probably a week or two. So I gotta touch base again. Cedar Street Extension, all that old broken asphalt, we took that out, used those millings we got from the state, put a new base down in there. We did one of the days in between here, I had to go out and, they did a bunch of sidewalk, tree trimming on sidewalks where they were getting overgrown. As time allows, we still gotta do some there's quite a bit on the streets to do too. We may get some of that done in between, but still got quite a bit of work on the schedule. Flushing, probably gonna be early October. I mean, once paving here is complete, we'll be going into flushing. That's gonna take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. Chlorine tank came in for the water plant, so we're still using the chlorine in the tank we have now. Once that gets down, we'll change over to a drum, and then we'll work on getting that tank cut up, removed, and trying to demolish that concrete dike that's in there somehow, so we can put our new tank in. Once that's in, then we can pipe it. And then obviously the generator we talked about, there's quite a bit to do there. I still have some culvert work. I'm hoping, we got a few places that if we can get, depending how the fall goes, how far it sticks out here for us, maybe some sidewalk repair, but we'll have to see what the weather does. As of right now, I'm looking at brush pickup probably late October. And we'll let you know again on next month, but it looks like it's probably gonna be, you know, toward the end of October. And that's gonna be, when we do it, it's gonna be brush only, 8 feet in length, 4 inch in diameter. We're not picking up bag leaves or bag debris, so it'll be just brush. Are there any questions?
Any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, I had a couple. The Muffin Monster
Mhm.
issue, is that why we're not accepting sewage from
No, our-
contractors?
No, well, that's where a lot of it comes from, but our solids were pretty high in our tank. So we were getting so many trucks, because there's so many new haulers,
Yep.
that we can't take that many, it's overloading the tank. And if it gets too overloaded, it'll flip on us, so we had to stop to try to get our solids down in them tanks. We're pressing only off one side, because we got one wall with that concrete, we can't isolate it to press off, so they gotta try to put it from one side to the other, so you basically have one side of the plant that's running as it should. So, once we can get that, once the contractors come, we can get that wall fixed, then we can, cause I mean, that's your backup. So if something happens to the other side, you know, we're gonna be,
So it's really pertaining to that then?
Yes.
That's what's causing the problem?
well, yes, we were taking so many, you know, we were taking so much, and we're loading it on one side, you know, so,
That's what I
We
mean,
had
so
to-
if the wall was repaired and you're able to use both sides.
then we'd be able to press more on both sides.
Yeah.
Some of that too, wasn't getting pressed as often as it should have been. For whatever reason, you know, vacations, had to take time, whatever it may be. So, all the local haulers that are close by, they ended up setting up, so they were able to go to Ross's Point.
Mhm.
So they're taking it now, which is good for the local guys, cause they don't have to haul to Plattsburgh,
Mhm.
so.
Was there somebody that came in last Friday? I thought I saw a truck drive down.
They pump out the outhouse.
Oh, is that what it's for?
Yeah, they
Oh,
clean
okay.
every week, they did the playground one,
Okay.
and, they come down and pump
That's what
out,
it was for. Okay.
clean them.
Okay, and the vandalism on the kayak launch,
Mhm.
how is it,
There's like pipes missing, I don't know where they are,
how'd they get those off?
the ones you put the padding on, the rubber, they got that right off, that was something down in the river, we had to fish that out. And the short pipes, those are gone. So, they get on there and they start jumping, they jump off there, they swim there, so now if they jump, they'll be jumping off the rocks onto rocks.
Yeah, it became a swim platform. I don't know how many times I went down there and threw them out. And I'd be
We've got no
gone.
swimming, no lifeguard, no, but it didn't seem to matter, even some of the adults, the parents. And we got signs along that whole river,
Do we
that
have
says no
a-
swimming.
Do we have a handle on who they are?
Some of them I know.
Do we have anything on camera to the vandalism that was done?
Well, that'd be hard to see, I would say. I mean, the cameras are,
No,
we need to upgrade the cameras. That could be a totally different discussion because we're not seeing as
there's a
clearly as
few,
we need
it needs to be
to.
upgraded, and where it is, it's, when they squat down, you can't see, so you can't actually see them do it
Yeah,
because of the bank,
yeah.
so it makes it a little more difficult.
It's been very, very frustrating.
I wasn't aware of it, I'm
I
sorry.
was going down every afternoon and evening
Twice we
throwing them out.
put it back together, and this last time, I said, that's it, let's take everything out. We got to go check it every day, the pieces are hanging, they're taken apart. We ended up drilling and pinning the pipes, cause they
No, it's
pushed it
just-
down and took the pipes off, so I
It's
had to
very
bolt them so they
discouraging.
couldn't take them off. Cause before they would get a bunch of them on it, and they'd try to sink it and get it below to get it off, so then I pinned them.
Yeah.
And then it stopped them for that, but then they're pushing, I think they're sitting on one side pushing and sliding those pipes. You know, they sit where the kayak goes, and I think they're pushing with their feet and, yeah, everything, the bottom pipes are there, luckily the longer ones, but the upright ones are gone. They must be in the bottom of the river, I don't know.
We probably should put it back on the other side because there's no reason they're going to be on that side because it's just all mucky. Even though it's not as useful for a kayaker,
What on the other side?
the actual launch. So
Where it was originally.
where it was originally, because being on the front, it was right where they were jumping. So they would stand on it, jump up and down before going in the water, but on the side, even though it's not as great for kayaking, the kids will have no reason to go over there, cause it's just all, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just all mucky over there.
But in order to use it next year, we're gonna have to buy parts for it. Or buy
Buy
new
parts or make parts, something.
It's very discouraging in this village to try to spend village funds, spend village time to get grants, to do things like this, just to have it destroyed.
Yeah,
It just really makes me not want to invest more money when we still have a
And
group
time.
of people that are doing vandalism and ruining it for the people that truly want to use it.
I completely agree.
It
Believe
is,
me,
it
I've been
is
very
disgusting
discouraged.
that we have this going on.
And you're talking about probably 5 people.
Yeah. But the amount of time and money that was spent on that project, to have to go back and spend more money on it.
Same thing happened with the basketball.
What?
That's the same thing that happened before with the basketball. I didn't put one in for whatever, a couple of years,
I
3
know,
years.
cross your
Same-
fingers, I
same
was the
thing.
one that pushed this new one, and it's, so far it's fine, and they're using it a lot, but
Well, it certainly looks
Sad.
durable enough.
It's very sad that it has to go
The
that
new one
route.
looks durable enough
It's
to,
heavy.
yeah, it looks durable enough to withstand a lot of abuse. But this really drives me nuts because I think we need to rethink what we're gonna do with it next year.
yeah,
I don't
We
think we
do.
want, I don't think we wanna put that same style one back in. I think it's a waste.
yeah. Well, it's a discussion we'll have to have in the spring before we do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes me really mad.
I mean, the dock itself, if we put bumpers on and stuff, could be used for voters, I would assume.
They could pull up to it, pull in.
Yeah.
It depends, and it's, most of the boating there is done in May because of the walleye season.
Yeah.
Usually at that time, we got a dock. And then a month later, it's 3 feet out of the water because the water went down so far.
Well, I'd be glad
It's
to.
discouraging, very
Very,
discouraging.
very.
I guess that's all I have for you, Mike, thank you.
So I have a few purchase requests too that the first one, I think, I probably only did the cover page, but the first one is the 22262. That's for the setup for heated wipers for the new plow truck, like we put on our other one. We had,
I don't have
Do we
any.
have
We
those?
don't have any of that.
yeah, I think
Yeah, they
they
were
were
put
all
on the table.
when you came in.
when I-
You-
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, there should be one between you.
Oh, right here, Tyler?
Right
Right here. There you
This?
go. I got it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So which one?
So the thermal blade, the top one, that's for the heated wipers for the new plow truck. We put a set on the other Peterbilt, they seem to work really well.
The 22262?
Yeah.
Yep, the last set we bought was in February 2020, and it was $217.18 when we bought them, so it's a couple dollars difference. So that's the whole setup with the controller, the heated wipers, 2 extra heated wiper blades and 2 extra summer blades.
So I take it
Swap.
that's something you could have spec'd into it
They
then?
didn't, I tried it and they don't offer that,
No kidding,
no. I think most of it's aftermarket.
yeah.
And they didn't have, and I know what these were, cause we had them on ours, so. And these, we had them on a switch, but they're temperature controlled,
Mhm.
so if it gets up, within 2 degrees of 32, they'll shut off. Most other truck drivers have them on a switch so they can use them constant, but they didn't want that, cause they would forget them on, it melts them.
Yeah, you get rubber to windshield.
Yeah, the old truck was like that. So I'm
So it's-
asking you for approval to purchase a set of heated wipers for the new plow truck for the amount of $222.62.
Is there a motion
I make a motion to approve,
and a second?
this and that.
Second. Any other discussion? No questions on that?
It's that radio case in
Oh, we're
That's
not- we're not
for
there yet.
Bear
This is
Talk.
there. Okay.
Okay.
Trustee
So,
Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
aye. Okay, and the
So
next
the
one?
next one's Bearcom, which used to be Wells in Plattsburgh, and that is the holsters for their two-way radios. They're a leather holster, they go in, they flip, you got a piece that goes in your belt, because the radios, there's no way to carry them, and they get left. We've already had to track and find a couple radios, because they get set down, you have no way to keep the radios with them. So I'm hoping, this is for 3 of them, they're $74. We had one broke, but we've had it for I don't know how many years. And one fella, that's what he uses all the time. So I'm looking to get 3 of them, and 3 of our guys can carry, or they can carry their radios with them instead of putting them down every time they get in. The radios are like, well, I lost mine years ago on a water break, I think it was like $6,000 to replace it. And we had to replace it. They're expensive. There's a regular, just like the fire department uses basically,
Yeah.
EPX 6000s. So I'm looking to get 3, and I have to buy one other small piece, but it's not gonna be expensive. It got lost off one of the radios somehow, but I'm looking to see if I can get 3 cases or holsters for, so they can keep the radios in. The amount was $222. I don't know, they didn't give me a shipping amount.
Seems to be a popular number.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking.
I
Wish
can't
it was
see it
all
being
of
that
it.
much, but I don't know.
So do we need to add in?
I would say, yeah, I would
I would
say,
say 222 plus shipping.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the $222 purchase for holsters, plus any additional shipping required.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee McFetrich, trustee Malinsky. Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
when's the next one?
Okay,
This is the big one. Oh, I forgot to copy this one. So we need new cutting edge, I guess I forgot to give you a copy of this. We need a new cutting edge for the loader, I got 2 quotes. The cutting edge on our loader is broke, center cutting edge, and you can't just change one because they're all wore together. And I do have 2 quotes, but the cheapest of the 2 quotes is $1,486.86. That's from Beauregard. The other one was 18 something.
18,220.
I didn't realize that, I just thought,
Oh, right here.
So it's another coincidence, this is the Muffin Monster she's looking at.
Oh,
Oh, that's 18,000, this is 1,800.
Yeah.
There's an extra 0 on there.
oh,
Yeah.
but that
So-
does have the 2 2s in it.
yes, it does.
The 2 places I got quotes from, one was $1,802.13, and the other one was $1,486.86.
what's the difference?
Same, it's just different. Fits the same bucket. I don't know if it's identical blade. The less expensive is actually from the dealer where we got our loader from. So, and he did not tell me if there was freight. There may be freight on that as well.
So a
Uh,
motion plus free.
Yeah, and both of them are probably gonna be the same, and they're heavy.
Yeah, that's right, it's probably be 100 or so,
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to have it. We can't, you ruin a bucket if you don't have it. But I figured we just found it this week, so I figured we're so close.
So I make a motion to accept the quote from Beauregard's for
$1486.86
thank you, $1486.86,
plus freight.
plus additional freight
I'll second it.
charges.
Chuck, you seconded?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky. Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
So the next one's an expensive one. The next one is the Muffin Monster, which is the grinder at the wastewater plant. I'm gonna see what we can do to have the other one repaired. If we can't have it repaired, this is the cost of a refurbished one, $18,222. Used to be, the last one we bought was in 2014. When we bought it, it was a refurbished one. We had to send the old one back. We paid $11,121. They don't take them old ones back anymore.
Mhm.
So if it can't be repaired, this may be the only option I have. The,
How's our,
the part that hurts me the most
Sewer
is,
fund is fine.
I know, that's what I thought, that's what I was
but
saying.
the part that hurts me the most is when this project, the sewer upgrades are done, this is gonna be going away. So in a year and a half or 2 years, we won't need this anymore.
Maybe we can sell it.
Yeah, my first option is gonna be try to repair,
Why are
if we
the,
can, for a couple thousand or whatever, if we can repair the one we have to get by, but I would much rather go that way.
Oh, yeah.
well, yeah, forgive me, I didn't know this, so enlighten me on that. Why won't we need the muffin mounds?
Cause we're putting a bar screen. Bar screen is basically all the solids that come in into the plant. There's a, you put a wheelbarrow or a small cart there, and that's got a, basically like a conveyor. So all the hair, the solid, all that bigger stuff, that comes up and drops out. What this does, it all goes through the plant, but it's basically knives and it grinds it, make it smaller, so it goes through the pumps. So the
So we're
bar,
gonna screen it out ahead of time now.
so this is coming out and the bar screen's going into place of this. So it's gonna come out of a conveyor and drop into a wheelbarrow or a tub you can empty daily, versus trying to get it ground up smaller and still send it through the plant.
Got it?
So
I didn't know
it's
that.
gonna take place of it.
So in that regard, now I'd rather spend less money on this one to get by for the next,
Yeah, the bolts sheared off. It's a tall unit, but the bolts sheared when I pulled it out because it had stopped. It wasn't running. It was overflowing around it, so the stuff wasn't going through it, so we pulled it. When we pulled it, it was plugged up, but we pulled it. I got it out of the channel, and luckily the one bolt was holding because we'd have lost it, but the sides opened up, there was one bolt holding on the sides. And the bolts are from the inside, which is through the gearbox. There's a gearbox on both ends, and it looks like the bearings were on the shaft and the casing on the bottom, so I don't know, I gotta
so
see if it's,
so you're telling me it's probably
It-
beyond repair?
it may not be repairable,
Mhm.
but I'm waiting for the parts breakdown because they sell all individual parts. I mean, if we have to buy the bottom casing and bearings, I mean, if we can do it for quite a bit less than what it's gonna cost us, I mean, I'd rather go that route.
Well, okay, so here's my opinion on that, if you don't mind discussing it before there's a motion on the floor.
That's
Um,
fine.
I wouldn't wanna put, $6,000 of parts into the old one and then all your time and labor, which you can't afford to do,
Well, this I may send somewhere.
okay?
It's does our gearboxes, like for the sewer plant, does our press
you'd-
bearing, I
You'd
may,
send this whole thing out to have it done?
yeah, locally, but yes.
Okay.
To see if it's something, I can take it apart, what do we need to get a quote on on the parts?
How much time do we have to play with to figure that out?
I mean, I didn't wanna wait, and I really can't wait another month and then decide, and then it's gonna be, cause it's a 3 or 4 week lead time as it is, to get this unit.
Okay, so what you would
So
like,
you'd be 2 months out.
I think
So
we have to
I'd like
approve
to
this.
get this approved,
I'm seeing that,
Yeah.
I'm working through it.
but I'm gonna see what we can do as soon as I get the parts breakdown, which you were supposed to send me today. As soon as I get the parts breakdown, I'd like to bring it, have it taken apart and see, even if it costs us $100 or whatever it costs to get it taken apart, to know how much it's gonna cost us in material and how quick the material's gonna be here.
Right,
And then make the decision, if it's gonna be half the price, it's not worth it, it's not worth having it rebuilt, obviously.
no,
But if
even if
it's-
it was a
A third,
third maybe. Cause since we don't need it for a long time, but I gotta, so is this the only quote you can get, I think?
I will get one more, I'm waiting for one from one other company. This place was cheaper the 2 last time, by $3,000. The last time we bought one, we got a quote from 2 places, they've all come from the same place, but I think they buy them and do their markup.
Yep,
So I will get I'm waiting for a second quote from another company, but it's still gonna come from the same place, it's one manufacturer, so they just make their markup. So, I mean, obviously if it'd be less, I'd take the lesser of the 2. Last time I could buy a new one, cheaper than this, and the things have gone,
well, everything's
Yeah.
gone up,
I
everything.
don't know.
Okay, so,
I just didn't wanna wait a month and then another month if we have to get it, and then you're 2 months more without, right now, everything's going into the plant. Luckily, right now, we're not taking outside haulers, so we're gonna have somewhat less solids,
right, is there freight in this?
that's included.
It's into that's why it's blank.
And see, that says freight included in the quote, under her name, right in the
Yes.
center, the bottom line.
Mhm.
Okay.
Gotcha, okay, I didn't see that.
It comes in by tractor trailer.
So I make a motion to approve the $18,220, if needed, based on Mike's.
Findings of taking
Findings.
that one apart.
If the other quote's cheaper, naturally buy from the other company.
We have a second.
Second.
Rest of the board have any comments, questions?
Kinda stinks, but
Before I started here,
that's sewer.
they
I
tried
was going
to,
to say, is that a pun?
they had one of these before I started here that they tried to fix, and it ended up getting shipped back in a wooden crate, cause all them knives, it all comes apart off a shaft, and there's gotta be shimmed, so, we'll see,
Yeah.
we'll see. I think it's worth taking apart to know, and go from there. But this is gonna be worst case scenario, is we're gonna have to replace it.
Yeah,
It just stinks that it's, you know, within the next couple of years, we're not gonna need any more.
But
I mean, this one we bought in 14,
You know, maybe there's another plant somewhere that's still using muffin monsters and we'll put it.
most of them went to
we'll put
bar
it-
screens,
we'll put
because
it out
it
there.
removes it, instead of just making it smaller.
Right.
roll call.
Trustee Trombley. Aye. Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee
All
Connor.
right,
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
you're gonna see.
Oh,
Oh,
what about this one, Mike?
Oh, they got it as correspondence,
Oh, okay,
that's for the electrical.
okay.
I didn't realize you put it as correspondence, so I wanna make sure they had it.
I do.
wait, under new business? You talking about?
I guess yes, cause that's under.
Bids for installation of.
Bids for
generators.
installation of generator.
Okay, yeah, it'll come up in a minute. Is that it, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
I don't know.
Correspondence?
Correspondence from Mayor McFetrich to outside sludge haulers, correspondence from Mayor McFetrich to Brett Anderson, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Stephen Trombley, correspondence from Codes Enforcement Officer to Mitchell Gay, cable franchise fees from Charter Communications, correspondence from Mayor McFetrich to Joe Ashling, EDU Assessor, correspondence from Code Officer to Silver Castle regarding property maintenance, correspondence from Codes Enforcement Officer to David Bernier regarding property maintenance, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Chad Poirier regarding property maintenance, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Sean Moynihan regarding property maintenance, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Sandra Barber regarding property maintenance, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Alan Como regarding zoning violation, correspondence from Code Enforcement Officer to Stephen Trombley regarding code violation.
Thank you. All right, new business. First item is renaming of the Northern Tier Rec Trail. Calvin Castine came to our meeting, spoke about naming the trail in honor of Harry McManus, who was instrumental in finding all the funding. So the town has already done that. I'd like a motion to rename the Northern Tier Rec Trail in honor of Harry McManus.
So moved.
In a second. Any discussion? I don't know exactly what the name will be. I don't know how they're going to phrase it, but Harry J. McManus Rec Trail or something like that. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Purchase of electric vehicle, this doesn't have to be a long discussion, but I did want to bring it up so that we could start talking about the possibility of maybe investing in an electric vehicle for the village. There are some rebates for municipalities. If you get an electric vehicle that goes between 100 and 200
Miles per hour?
miles,
Charge.
miles on a charge. I'm like, yeah, how do you say that? Definitely not miles per hour.
No, I was just kidding, I was
yeah.
just kidding myself.
There's a $5,000 rebate, and if it goes 200, or further, $7,500. That's from New York State, and then in addition, from the federal government, there's a $7,500 rebate for the purchase of an electric vehicle. I'm going to do a webinar tomorrow, from NYSERDA, talking about the purchase and how to participate. I mean, currently, we pay mileage when we use our own vehicles, or we don't pay mileage, but we should pay mileage. We go down to Plattsburgh for water tests. Juanita runs to the bank frequently. I go to Plattsburgh for village-related meetings. I think it's something that we could benefit from, but I don't know how the rest of you feel.
Do you have an idea what the cost of the vehicle would be?
They're probably around 30,000,
And this is just a small car.
and it's a small car.
And where you would keep it?
Good question. My garage has a little room. No, actually it doesn't.
That's a good question.
I can give you more information tomorrow after the webinar, but where to park it, where to keep it, especially in the winter, would be a concern.
Charging station.
What's a charging station cost?
We
Well,
we
most-
have one,
I
but
think
this could
most
plug
of them-
right, this
I
plugs
would
right
think most
into
of them
the,
come with them, with a adapter with a
Yeah.
charger, I would assume, I
Yeah.
know my dad's did,
yeah, yeah.
Well,
which
the hy-
plugs
the-
into a cord, you
I know
know,
the hybrids do.
yeah,
Yeah, I think you can get an adapter and it plugs right into
so
it.
I would assume it comes with
Yeah.
it, but.
That's something I'll learn tomorrow. Okay, so that's all I have to say about that. I can give you more information on that. Hazard mitigation plan resolution. Let's see here. All right, this is something we need to adopt. So I will read this quickly. Clinton County 2021 Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Municipal Adoption Resolution, Village of Champlain. Whereas the Village of Champlain, Clinton County, New York is most vulnerable to natural and human-made hazards which may result in loss of life and property, economic hardship, and threats to public health and safety. And whereas Section 322 of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 requires state and local governments to develop and submit for approval to the President a mitigation plan that outlines processes for identifying their respective natural hazards, risks, and vulnerabilities. And whereas the Village of Champlain acknowledges the requirements of Section 322 of DMA 2000 to have an approved hazard mitigation plan as a prerequisite to receiving post-disaster hazard mitigation grant program funds. And whereas the Village of Champlain, with the assistance from the Clinton County Planning Department and Mountain View Planning, in cooperation with other county departments, local municipal officials, and the citizens of the Village of Champlain,
Missed that one, I'm sorry.
that's okay, has gathered information and prepared the Clinton County Pre-Disaster Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. And whereas a public involvement process consistent with the requirements of the DMA 2000 was conducted to develop the Clinton County Hazard Mitigation Plan. And whereas the Clinton County Pre-Disaster Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan has been prepared in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas the Clinton County Hazard Mitigation Plan recommends mitigation activities that will reduce loss to life and property, both by natural and human-made hazards that face the county and its municipalities. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees that the Village of Champlain hereby adopts the 2021 Clinton County Pre-Disaster Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan as this jurisdiction's hazard mitigation plan. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, bids for installation of the generator. Back to you, Mike.
Right on the, whoops, that's not the right
So did we have to re-advertise?
one. No, I emailed the one that was the lowest quote by quite a bit last time and had him re-quote it. And he sent me an email that the wire over doubled, and this is what the cost of it is. This is what it was last time.
I have both, Oh, that's,
It went up, about $9,300
In materials.
in materials.
So when can it be done then?
Not till we can hook the power from the old one. We have to build a retaining wall. We have to move the conduit, remove the old generator, remove the cement pad, remove the fuel tank, build a retaining wall, and pour a 12-inch thick concrete pad. Then the generator can be set, and then they can pull the wire. That has to be done before winter, or we lose our warranty.
Should we bid that work out? I know we originally intended to try to do it in-house, but
It may be better, this way we get a true value too for the project, for the water.
Wait,
This way-
what may be better?
It may be better that this is the electrical.
Yeah,
For all the site work, building retaining wall and that, it may be better if we bid it out. This way we got a number from somebody else. Because
well,
that's gonna be in between the town and village as well, and this way, this is what the number is. It's not,
plus it's more likely to get done, because I don't know
Well,
how you're
that's-
fitting this
that-
into the schedule you already
that's-
mentioned.
yeah,
Exactly.
with no
If you
disrespect,
can find
Mike,
somebody
No,
to do
but-
it.
that's what I meant,
yeah, well, and
you know,
it may be,
you got a lot to do and
maybe
it's why
it's
we're,
better.
so I think we should try to bid that work out as well.
I agree, I
I
don't
mean,
know if
there's
we're
quite
gonna
a-
find anyone.
I know somebody I may be able to contact that did work for us, for did some sidewalks.
Oh, right,
That's something he would be able to.
okay.
I know I just priced blocks, I mean, blocks, 5-foot blocks are $95 a piece, and they lock together. I just called and priced blocks. I gotta figure exactly how we need, I mean, there's quite a bit to do. I mean, we can remove the old, get that out of the way, get the slab pulled out, but that still has to be dug and, filled in, and
There's excavation to be done, and then
conduit's gotta be moved, gotta put a 12-inch thick slab.
this does not include the
That,
conduit, right?
that right there is for the wiring of the generator.
Yeah,
So the conduit's already there, but it has to be moved back, because where it is, it would be too close to, or the building wouldn't be able to drive through.
but it can be reused,
What we have to shorten it actually, move it back.
okay.
Conduit, you're only talking very little cost anyway, you know, if we had to buy conduit, we'd probably have to buy a couple fittings to move that back, $20 or $30, you're not looking at a big, it's already from the building to the vault, this is from the vault to the generator.
Mhm.
I
Well-
think we should bid it out.
I do too. I've been thinking that for a while to begin with, because I know how much you've got to do, and this is a decent sized project.
And the other thing is I won't have to, if it's a third party, I won't have to worry about as far as cost, or you do this, or how much, well, we shouldn't have to pay for that, and we went through that before, between,
Yeah, don't, without bringing that into it, I still.
No,
think
I'm
we
just
should,
saying. If it's a third party, it's cut and dried.
Let's bid it out then. I don't think that takes a motion, I mean,
No.
we're just discussing the topic.
Is there a general idea of how much that would cost? Does it need to be
It's gonna cost more
a
than,
capital project?
What's your,
Yeah,
Well,
what's the
that's-
threshold?
what's your threshold? Was it 10,000?
I think,
No, I
I'd
think
have to
it's,
look it up, I think it's
I think
30,
it's
isn't it?
30, yeah.
I think
it's
30
30.
for
It's
the project.
30.
No,
It's more than 30.
No, it's not gonna be that.
So then we could find
Find
three or
somebody
four
to do
places
it.
that we can put this,
Correct.
and
Okay.
request quotes from, so we don't have to do an official bid with
Right,
wages.
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so, I remember it being
Yeah,
30,000.
yes, yes.
And,
25 for an item and 30 or 24 items.
And if we have to purchase the blocks direct,
34.
you know, have them do the work and purchase the blocks direct, we can do it that way too. Cause either way, we gotta pay for them.
Mhm.
So if I have to purchase the blocks, even if we gotta pick them up or whatever we gotta do, it's close by. We can divide it to get that,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yep,
But try, if you can, try to get more than one quote. If you can't, then we're gonna have to take what we
I
can get.
probably can get,
yeah, boy,
I can probably get a few.
it's hard. It's so hard finding people who have the time to do this.
Well, you have to at least,
I mean-
at least present it to a certain number of people with
Right.
that dollar amount, so,
Right.
I mean, if they can't do it, they can't do it. They can't bid, they can't bid.
Or if they
I
bid-
know
or
one
if
that
they
would do
bid,
everything,
they
if we
can't.
have to divide it
To
in
make your
two.
best effort at least.
Right.
Okay, let's do that. Everyone good with that?
Yes.
Right. Okay, sale of village properties.
So what's gonna, wait a minute, what's gonna happen with this? Do we just?
That's gonna be on top of the other.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That's gonna be on top of
Okay,
the other, so
okay.
you may wanna,
actually,
You may
yeah, I
wanna-
guess we better
Should
approve
approve it?
that.
because if that's,
on
if
top
this
of the
is
other.
done, if,
It's done by a different person.
Mhm.
up to that amount, because I have another quote coming, and if it's less
Yeah.
than, obviously,
Well, we're gonna have to regather on this other set of quotes, so should we do it together? If he's got another quote coming,
Yeah, well, why don't we wait?
it's up
Let's
to you.
wait till we have
Or
more
unless you do
information.
up to, cause see, this one was quite a bit cheaper last time, this fella.
I know, but will we gain anything by approving
By
it now
approving it
compared
tonight
to
versus waiting to
a couple
approve
weeks?
it all together.
We can get
No,
back
we can
together,
do
but
it.
once
However
you
you
get
wanna do it.
quotes,
Plus you probably have
I
more
can't.
information. Yeah, okay.
I'd rather
That's
get
fine.
back together in a special meeting and have all of it in front of us, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah, piecemeal is hard. Okay, is that fine? Yes. Okay. It's hard to see nods behind the mask.
Yes, I
Um,
agree.
sale of village properties, in 2014, there were a couple of, let's see, not appraisals.
Assessments,
Assessments, no, appraisals.
appraisals.
Appraisals done on two pieces of village property, one being the one along the river behind Robert's house. And the other one is by the Frog Pond. At the time, the board was, I think, ready to sell them,
Mhm.
but we didn't. So I'm interested in selling them, and I'm wondering how the board feels. I can give you a little bit of information on sale of property for villages, I'll just read this quickly to you. I know it's getting late.
Don't we have to post it to the public for a period of time?
No. So, first we have to determine that the land is no longer needed for municipal purposes, and we have to enact a resolution to that effect. The land must be sold for a fair and adequate consideration. The village has the discretion in determining how we sell it. We can sell it through an auction, we can sell it through a private sale, we can advertise, but whatever we decide to do, we just have to make sure that we get adequate consideration. The appraisal was done by Lawrence Cromie, from West Shazy in December 2014. The 1141 Perry Mills Road property at that time was $25,000, and the Moore Street property along the river was $1,000. So,
Would we need a new appraisal?
well, that's a question. Appraisals are expensive, it would be probably over $1,000. It's totally up to us what we consider adequate consideration and adequate price. The land's not doing us anything. Mary and I actually walked the one on Perry's Mills Road on Sunday. It's a beautiful spot, but it's got a lot of ravines and it's steep and, but it's beautiful. We can stick with what the price was before. It's totally up to us how we do it and how we advertise it, or not. We can do a private sale. If we know somebody that wants it and it's adequate consideration, we can agree.
I thought it had to be, advertised to taxpayers.
Nope, it can be a private sale. But we may choose to want to advertise it.
Right. Now, say for instance, the small parcel, value in it 7 years ago was $1,000. What is it gonna cost us to sell this? I mean, there must be closing costs and all that, correct?
I'm sure there's something, I don't think,
You can always put that upon the buyer.
yeah, you can put that upon the buyer.
And I think that small piece, we still have right away anyways, because our sewer goes
Yeah,
through
we
there,
sell right away.
can't build anything there.
And that,
It's down near the river, correct?
yeah,
From
and
the
that
road
person
to
does
the
wanna buy it.
Pardon me?
That person does want to buy that,
Okay.
the Moore Street, or behind Moore Street property.
Mhm.
Yeah, the closing costs can be the burden of the buyer.
I would say on that one, it's, you're not gonna find many buyers
Right.
for that one.
No,
You know, the other one I think you might, but I don't know for sure. But that one I would say, I would vote to sell it for that price as long as it didn't cost us anything to close.
so the first thing we need to do is, a resolution stating that the land is no longer needed by the village of Champlain. So that can be a simple motion. And it could be both properties, if you only wanna deal with one. I don't know why we would try to hold on to that Perry's Mill.
We do
Road.
still have easement there though.
Yes, the easement remains, yeah,
On the small piece,
on the small piece, yes.
on Moore Street,
Yeah, I mean, it's not that wide, 62 feet wide on one and 50 feet on the other. It's a map actually in the back here.
Yeah.
yeah, I did pull it up, I remember looking at it before. I have it here. Where's that? And we would still keep a right of way through that?
Yeah, down below the hill by the river, toward the river is our sewer goes through there. I mean, it's being used right now by that same person.
I know, but we might as well make it official and get a little money off it.
Okay, so, take this on the floor, I'll make a motion to do a resolution stating that the village no longer needs this small parcel of land.
Correct. So specifically, the Moore Street River property.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do you want to table the other one for now and give it some more thought? Or do you wanna pass a resolution for that and then decide next month how to proceed? I don't wanna push people into doing something, I know it's getting late.
No, I think we could definitely pass a resolution on that one
Yes.
as well, because I agree we don't need it,
Right,
and then we could give some thought, and whether we reassess it or not, reappraise, or, and how do we sell it, you know?
okay, let's do the resolution then, if there's a motion to that.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to do the resolution to state
No,
that the
second that.
property on Paris Mills Road bordering the Shazy River we no longer need.
Okay, and Chuck, you seconded it. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And then next month, do you wanna pick up the topic again and talk about how to advertise or not?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, is there any way we could do any type of research to find out if, 7 years it validates having it reappraised?
well, it must be assessed,
well, it's assessed much higher.
right,
It's assessed at 38.
and I think that's where we'd have to look more at what it was appraised for 7 years ago.
Agreed.
Yeah, so it's assessed currently at 38, I believe, and that includes the building, which it's not in super bad shape, but, I wouldn't think it was really usable, but the brick is nice, except for there's one big hole in the one wall. So we'll take it up next
Okay.
month. Thank you. Amendment to the owner-engineer agreement for the wastewater treatment plant disinfection upgrades. Anthony sent me this amendment, which has to be approved. A couple of things. One thing is that Mike and I talked to Matt the other day, and two of the jobs that we were going to try to do in-house, we have agreed to transfer to the person, the group that's going to do the work. Specifically, that would be the concrete repair, correct me if I'm wrong, and the valves.
We have the valves, just
We have the
install.
valves, but the installation of the valves. So that added to the additional services, and then, just a second. Excuse me. And then some costs went up. Let's see. Some costs went up from the projected amounts by, where is that, by 13,100 was the amended amount.
Yeah, but that includes the concrete work and installation of valves, right?
No, that
No?
was two bills that have come in
Really?
for work that has been done. And the work's already been done, and it came in higher than they had anticipated. So here, if you go to the blueprint, wait, do you have blueprint?
Yes.
Go to the blueprint, go to the subcontracted services. They budgeted 14,000. And the bills came in at 27,100. So that's the 13,100 increase. And that specifically was for survey mapping and subsurface investigation, the borings. And so those bills have already come in.
Okay. So what about the additional work then, where is that?
And we don't know what the cost will be for that, but we said that they should add that to it because we know we're not going to get it done.
I got a hold of two people, one of them went out of business. He got a hold of me and said, oh yeah, by the way, I went out of business. I worked 6 months of the year, so that put us behind, and there was another one supposed to stop, and they're so Australia, they haven't got back to us. They got back to us, they're supposed to stop and look at it, and I called twice since, and no return calls, so. I mean, either way, it had to be done, because we were gonna do it separate, but if you can't hit somebody, then
No.
Oh, right, oh, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I don't like it, but we don't really have a choice. It's work that's already been done and it's more expensive than they had, budgeted. So I just need a motion to accept this amendment to the agreement.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, dedication of the playground must go to somebody else.
Okay, we have a resolution drafted for the, resolution for dedication of Champlain Recreational Playground in honor and memory of Clark C. Hurdick. Whereas Clark C. Hurdick was a longtime resident of Champlain, and whereas Clark C. Hurdick served and was dedicated community leader of the village and the town of Champlain. Whereas Clark C. Hurdick was a respected member of the North Country. Whereas Clark C. Hurdick was an educator for 37 years. Whereas Clark C. Hurdick was a coach, official, and promoter of sports in our area. Whereas Clark C. Hurdick was a renovator and believer in the revitalization of Champlain. Whereas the Champlain Playground will be named Clark C. Hurdick Champlain Recreational Playground. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Champlain Board of Trustees Says hereby publicly dedicate the Village of Champlain Playground to Clark C. Hurdy. Adopted by the Village of Champlain Board of Trustees on this 13th day of September 2021 in Champlain, New York.
Roll,
Yeah,
motion,
roll.
motion,
I make a motion to accept and approve that resolution.
Second.
roll call. Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Hurdick.
What?
What?
Done.
Trustee
No,
Connors.
Aye.
We've been here too long.
Yes.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
I feel funny voting for it. Can I abstain? Or does that look funny on the,
I think we need to,
I see nothing wrong with you voting for it.
okay, aye,
Yay.
thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna try to read this statement. If I don't get through it, I'll hand it to Nikki. Maybe with a mask it will help. On behalf of the entire Hurdick McFetrich family, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this honor. Oh, I'm not doing very well yet. Clark would be humbled by it for sure. It was 35 years ago this month that we moved to the village of Champlain, not really knowing what we were getting into up here. I've been commuting to northeastern Clinton for 2 years from Peru. And with the baby on the way, we realized that quick access to the children was necessary. And so we moved. We made the conscious decision to choose to live in the village of Champlain. When I retired 7 years ago, we had the discussion again of where to live, should we move? And we chose to stay right here. Clark and I both believe that we can make a difference in our home community. So Clark started working on restoring old buildings and planting trees. Lots of trees. There are probably a dozen of those trees in the playground. He didn't go to the garden store to buy these trees. He went into the woods and he tagged them in the fall. And then he'd go back in the spring and he would dig them up carefully, one by one. He would be so happy with these trees that he found for the playground. Because that's what he did. And if hard labor was involved, he tackled it. And so I thank you for this recognition. The last 2 lines.
He loved this village very deeply. He cared about its future. He believed in all of you.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Survey of the donated land. You know that the Coupas donated some land to us downtown. All I want is a motion to hire a surveyor so we can get some pins in there so we can see what we're really dealing with. I don't really know where the boundaries are there, so we need to hire somebody to mark that out for us. And then we can talk later about what we want to do with that. It's not a lot of land, but I know there's some interest in a small veterans park. You know, I think we can do something really nice.
Where's it located exactly?
So it's between the old bar building, Central Nutrition,
Yeah.
and the stone wall and the the vacant lot in the middle.
Okay.
So it's not super wide, but it is kind of long. So could I have a motion to hire someone to survey it so we can get it marked?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. For old business sidewalk replacement, I don't, oh,
The resolution for snowball.
yes, we need a resolution to accept the snow plow. I need a resolution to accept the new snow plow. That's part of our closing, and we've gotta have it in the minutes for when we pay for the whole thing.
I make a motion to,
Accept the
Accept
new
move
truck and plow.
into our equipment. I guess, I don't know. Reword it if you need to.
Well, it'll be spiffy, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. motion
And I
carries.
guess we've already did payment. 'cause
We
I
already
wasn't
did the
on board.
payment, yeah,
I just wanted to make sure it didn't get,
yeah, no, that's
Okay.
right, that's part of the closing, we have to have the resolution on record. Okay, sidewalk replacement, I don't think we have, I think we tabled that.
We received no bids.
We got no bids,
No one,
we got no bids.
No.
no one requested specs and we received.
No.
I think we'll have to put it out like late winter or something again for
Yeah,
next year.
I'd say late winter, early spring, we'll do it again. Motion to adjourn,
So move.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everyone, I know it was long.
there's that 22 again.
22.